At 17, Raegan Revord already has two strong titles to their name, actor and author. Now, with their debut novel Rules for Fake Girlfriends out in the world and a book tour underway, Revord has added something deeply personal to the mix, coming out as non-binary. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight while promoting their new book, they shared not only the journey of becoming an author, but the journey of becoming themselves. The book and the tour, Rules for Fake Girlfriends, released on September 2, 2025, is a young adult rom-com with a queer bent. Its plot follows Avery Blackwell, a college freshman whose life is caught between grief over her mother's death, a literal scavenger hunt her mother left behind, and an unexpected fake dating scheme with a charming Charlie in England. The emotional stakes are high, but so are the stakes of self-discovery. Revord, who began writing the book while still acting on young Sheldon, has said that they balance school, acting, and writing, sometimes hiding a laptop under the table between takes. The book tour for Rules for Fake Girlfriends provides more than just promotional appearances. It's become a platform for Revord to speak about identity, representation, and the power of vulnerability with young readers. They've expressed how important it was for them to write something where people could see themselves, especially queer youth, because, for much of their own childhood, that reflection was rare. Confirming non-binary. Though their pronouns, they slash them, had changed on social media in January 2025. For Revord, this recent interview marks the first time they publicly addressed their gender identity in their own words, confirming that they are non-binary. In describing what that means, Revord reflects back on their younger self, someone who, when seeing queer or non-binary celebrities, thought, "Oh my God, this is so cool. I see myself in you." Now they say it's surreal and meaningful to think that they might play that role for someone else. There might be a kid somewhere who's like, "Oh my God, I see myself in you." Revord acknowledges that upbringing in a world with sparse queer visibility has shaped much of their worldview, creative work, and sense of responsibility. What it feels like, and what it changes. For Revord, confirming their gender identity openly is more than a personal milestone. It's a shift in how they move through creative spaces, public perception, and the stories they want to tell. They've spoken of the nervousness that comes with being young and stepping into new realms, writing a novel, putting it out to the world, court touring it, but also the exhilaration that comes from aligning self with public identity. They've also expressed gratitude for those who inspire them, such as the kind of queer stories that felt innocent, honest, or tender. Works like Heartstopper that center found families, friendship groups with diverse identities, and queer youth. Such stories shaped what Revord wanted their book to feel like. Representation. Why it matters. Revord's announcement is part of a broader cultural moment. Time when younger generations, including those in Hollywood, are pushing for gender identities, orientations, and expressions that lie outside binary framing to be recognized and respected. Revord says that growing up, they often felt unseen, not because people were intentionally silencing them, but because queer and non-binary stories were rarely mainstream or acknowledged. That invisibility takes a toll. For many, lack of reflection means lack of affirmation. Revord making space for that reflection now is something they speak about with both hope and responsibility. Making this announcement while on a book tour amplifies its impact. Readers who attend events don't only hear about plot points, they see a young person who is trying to live authentically, and who is doing so amidst the pressures of acting, media, and fan expectations. In speaking publicly, Revord offers not only hope, but proof that identity need not wait. That you can be non-binary, you can tell your story, you can be both. Reflections and forward motion. What lies ahead for Revord seems full of possibility. They haven't shied away from what is still challenging. The age-old obstacles of being young in an industry, being doubted because of youth, being taken seriously as someone who writes among many other things, and of course, navigating life in the public eye. But from all their interviews, what comes through is clarity. That being open about who they are is itself part of their storytelling. It's part of the art. In practical terms, we may see more books, possibly film adaptations, and definitely new work where representation isn't just token, but central. And beyond that, more young readers seeing themselves reflected in authors, actors, characters. That ripple effect, that someone out there might hear this, look at Revord, and think, Oh, maybe I can be who I am too. That's what Revord speaks of when they talk about being that person now. Conclusion. Raegan Revord's coming out as non-binary is not just personal, it's public. Against the backdrop of their debut novel, their media interviews, and their book tour, it's a moment that intertwines identity, art, and visibility. For fans, readers, and anyone who's ever wondered if they're alone, Revord's words are an invitation to see yourself, to claim what feels right, and to know that being true is itself a story worth telling.